I want a promotion. I need to switch companies. I should get my MBA. Does any of this sound familiar? If you're watching this video, you've probably said something similar. But here's the thing that might surprise you. You're actually solving the wrong problem many times. I'm a career and leadership coach, and I see this every single day. Smart, ambitious people, and I'm one of them, jumping straight to solutions without ever defining what they're actually trying to solve. So today, we're going to fix that using a framework that product designers have used for decades. Hi, I'm Emily Haverkamp, and I help mid-career professionals navigate transitions and growth. I'm a Gallup certified strength coach with over 5 years of experience managing people in the public sector, and in that role, I learned human-centered design techniques to drive organizational change. I discovered that if you don't define the problem correctly, your solutions, it's going to fail most of the time. Whether you're transforming organizations or you're transforming your own life or career. Today, we're exploring my Growth by Design framework, which combines human-centered design thinking with Clifton Strengths and positive intelligence to help you make the best decisions to help your career grow. So, let me paint a picture. Someone comes to talk to me and says, I need a promotion to senior director. Then I ask them why. And they say, well, because I've been in this role for 3 years. The thing is, that's not actually a problem definition. It's a solution masquerading as a problem. So the real questions that people need to ask themselves in these sort of situations are, what's not working in your actual current situation? What would success look like? What's driving this feeling that something needs to change? Most people skip this crucial step. So I see other similar examples. Let's call this person Marcus, who's convinced that they need to leave their company for that 20% salary bump and a VP title. That sounds logical, right? But when you dig with a Marcus a little bit deeper, the real problem isn't that they are looking for money or a title, it's that he felt undervalued and he wanted more autonomy in his work. Once you identify the actual problem, there's many times several solutions to the problem, including one that didn't require leaving the company at all. So why does this happen? Why do we jump to solutions? Well, it's actually hardwired into our brains. When we feel discomfort or dissatisfaction, our minds immediately start generating solutions because we want that feeling to go away. It's a survival mechanism. As Adam Grant notes in his research thinking, we often act like preachers defending our ideas rather than scientists testing hypotheses. But this shortcut is costing your time, energy, and potentially the wrong career moves. So here's what happens when you implement solutions to poorly defined problems. You get the promotion, but you realize you hate managing people. You switch companies for more money, but now you're in a toxic culture. You pursue an MBA, but it doesn't address your core concerns. This is often your saboteurs from positive intelligence holding you back. These are deeply ingrained habits that we have that are voices in our heads that tell us we need to do certain things, but really it's usually panic talking. And I see people make these moves and end up more frustrated than ever before because they solved the wrong problem from the wrong mental state. And the cause, it's not just time and money, it's your professional momentum and confidence. So, this is where human-centered design thinking comes in. In organizational change work, you never start with solutions, or you shouldn't. You start with understanding the human experience. You ask, what's the current state for our people? What are their pain points? What would success look like from their perspective? Simon Sinek puts it perfectly. Start with why. Before you can determine what solution you need, you have to understand why you feel something needs change. And this is the foundation of my Growth by Design framework. The same methodology that works for organizational transformation, it actually works brilliantly for career and personal development. So let's introduce you to something called the 5 whys technique. You start with your initial statement and you ask why 5 times. I want a promotion. Why? To advance my career. Why? Why do you want to advance? To feel more successful. Why would that make you feel more successful? Because I'd have more influence. Why is influence important to you? because I want to make a bigger impact on projects I care about. See, now we're getting to the real problem. Here's another critical step that most people skip: the values alignment check. Brené Brown's research shows that living out of alignment with our values is the fastest way to create shame and dissatisfaction in our lives. Let's say you've identified that you want more creative control in your work. Before jumping in to say, I need a new job, ask yourself, does this align with my core values? If autonomy and creativity are important to you, but you're considering a role that's highly structured and process-driven, you're setting yourself up for future dissatisfaction, even if it comes with more money or prestige. Another trap that I see people fall into is pursuing what they want without considering their natural talents. It's actually one thing that really drove me to become a Clifton Strengths coach. I've seen this pattern repeatedly. You might want the leadership role, but maybe your top strengths are executing and things like achiever and focus that really might be better suited for that high-performing individual contributor rather than managing others. You just think you're supposed to move up by managing people. Or you might have someone who's in a said analytical role, but what they're amazing at is relationship building, like empathy and developer. There's no wrong answer here. But there can be a wrong fit for unique talents. And the thing is, it's going to wear you out. So here's my growth by design problem definition framework. First, take the positive intelligence saboteur test to identify the voices that are creating any limiting thoughts. Additionally, take both the Clifton Strengths assessment and do a values inventory so you start out knowing your saboteurs, your strengths, and your values that are the most important for you. Second, identify the feeling or dissatisfaction from this centered state. What's not working in your current experience? Third, dig deeper with these 5 whys I just talked about, staying curious rather than judgmental. It's really important to not judge yourself. Only after you complete all of these steps should you move on to the next step, ideation, where you brainstorm possible solutions. When you properly define the problem, something magical happens. Multiple solutions emerge. I advise everyone, once they define their problem, to just let their mind go free and just write down every potential thing that fits into the problem that you've discovered. So let's talk about our friend Marcus. So we've identified Marcus's real problem. He really wants more autonomy and to feel more value. And he sits down and he finds 5 different ways to address it. He could negotiate more independence in his current role. He could join a startup. He could freelance part-time. He could start a side business. Or yes, he could actually pursue that VP role. Now he has choices, not just one desperate move. Just like in organizational change now, you want to develop next. You need to test your solutions before fully committing. Adam Grant's research on career decisions shows that people who prototype their career changes, this is the development stage in my growth by design framework. You're trying things on a small scale first. This allows people to make better long-term choices. If you've identified that you need more creative work, can you take on a project in your current role to test this? Is this making you feel more fulfilled? Maybe you don't need more. If you think you want to manage people, can you lead a cross-functional initiative first before managing is actually your full-time job? This is human-centered design in action, testing with real users, which in this case is you experiencing the change. And I know what some of you are thinking. This sounds like a lot of work. Can't I just apply for jobs and let the fates decide? Well, you can do that, but now you're probably going to create a false sense of urgency, and you're really just skipping over things that are making you unhappy, and you're probably going to end up right back in the same place a year or 2 from now. As Simon Sinek reminds us, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. The same applies to your career decisions. You need to understand your why before you are choosing your what. Consider this. The average person will spend 2,000 hours per year at work. Isn't it worth taking 20 hours defining the problem correctly to avoid years in the wrong situation? Your next career move is too important to leave to your saboteurs to hold you back. Before you update your LinkedIn headline or send that resignation email, take time to figure out what is the problem you're trying to solve. If this resonated with you, subscribe to my channel and let me know in the comments. What is it that you feel is holding you back, and how do you think this framework could help you out?